Good morning and afternoon. It's Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Welcome all. I'm Kane and I'm joined with David, better known as the Workday sharing guy. Also joining us is Denise, Logan, and special guests. Welcome to the sharing show.
Thank you, Kane. Can you please tell us a little bit more about Zoom?
Absolutely. So we're using Zoom today to host this show. If you want to chat with any of the guests on the show or the presenters, please just use the chat. Make sure you're sending your message to everyone, not just the panelists. And we're looking forward to a great show. So now I'm going to pass this over for our first Kahoot.
Thanks, Kane. So we will do our Kahoot opening this morning. If you open a browser and go to kahoot.it, you will be able to join us this morning.
And for those who are new, this is kahoot.it, and you could use a phone or you could use any browser, computer, it doesn't matter. But the URL is kahoot.it.
Denise, it's asking me for a pin.
Okay, we'll have your pin here in a moment, and Logan will post it in the chat in case you miss it. The pin for this is 346241. So 346241. And it'll ask you for a name and just put in anything you like.
And I'm asked all the time to remember 6 digits. The way I like to say it is 346241. At least for me, that's the easiest way for me to remember when I have to do 6.
All right, I think we're ready to go. All right, there's 4 questions this morning. Will you attend Pre-Rising Share-a-thon in Orlando the 13th through the 14th of October? Yes, and I have registered. Yes, but I have not registered. Maybe, waiting on approval or other. And no, unfortunately, missing the ultimate sharing event.
The ultimate, I'm going to tell you just because we've had over 300 people register. Oh, quite unfortunate, but a lot of people have registered and are going.
What Workday release are you currently using? Workday 2, Workday 12, Workday 22, or Workday 32?
Right, now this one, everyone's got that right. A large portion of this month's show is going to be about Workday 33. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what was going on. And it looks like everyone got it right. Okay, well, this one isn't the quiz Kahoot, but the rest are polls.
Will you attend the late September calculated fields share-a-thon? Yes, and I have registered. Yes, but I have not registered. Maybe, waiting on approval or other. No, unfortunately, missing.
That's pretty evenly distributed here. Right, maybe people didn't know about it, but anyway, it's late September.
Okay, this is our last question. Are you prepared for Workday 33? Yes, I am thoroughly prepared. Almost over a week into my preparations. Just getting started. No time to prepare. Hoping for the best.
Okay, we will hear some of the hoping for the best during the show today. For those who are asking in the chat how to find the calculated field share-a-thon, just do a search on community. Make sure there was one about a year ago. Make sure you find the one that's coming up here in September.
What do we have up next on the agenda?
Up next, we have David, the Workday sharing guy.
All right, hi everybody. This is David. So every show I do this disclaimer just to make sure it's a handshake agreement I have with Workday that people know that I don't represent Workday. I'm not an active Workday employee. I was hired by Workday in 2007, worked there for about 6 years, and left about 6 years ago, but I'm doing only Workday for 12 years, hitting my 12-year anniversary here in a few weeks. So my views do not represent Workday, and all of us actually People are just sharing. This is Workday customers sharing with each other. This is knowledge sharing. It's not training. I highly recommend the Workday training. Now, part of my disclaimer also here is my one chance to really highlight Workday 3 was the time in which I joined Workday. One of my first shirts I received from Workday is this Rome t-shirt. So let's just take a little bit of a closer look here at this Rome t-shirt, right? What does Rome mean? Well, Rome was the name of Workday 3 for those of you who didn't know. So this is long before Workday 33. And there's a hint there as to why Workday 3 was called Rome. Well, the left sleeve barely shows June MMV11. So for those who didn't know, Workday 3 came out in 2007. So what was Workday 1 named? Well, these are cities in Europe. So sure enough, Workday 1 was called Warsaw, and that was before I joined Workday. Now, interesting little side note is I was at Prague doing the first ever European Share-a-thon, and some people took a bus actually. So hello to my friends from Poland who made it to that Prague Share-a-thon from Warsaw. So what if actually for some reason Workday 1 was called Prague? I don't know. Let's say Workday had developers in Prague. Like what would it be actually? And I know you're all on mute, but some laughter for those who got it. It's not funny, oink oink. This picture is showing the 15 episodes of the Sharing Show all on one page, and they could all play at the same time. This is just a little bit of a teaser that we've got season 2 coming up starting in October. So lots of surprises coming.
Thank you, David. What do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we have Karen from Georgia sharing her onboarding in Orlando.
Hi there. My name is Karen, and I'm one of the co-sponsors of the Global Onboarding User Group. We have a user group meeting actually coming up in September on the 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can find that on Community by going to the user group or just searching for it. And we are also going to do an onboarding user group meeting right at Rising in Orlando. And again, you can find the registration for that on Community as well.
Thank you, Karen. I'm highlighting here because I remember when I first looked at it, it said 10:15. I thought, wait, Karen, you're overlapping with the pre-Rising Share-a-thon that we're having, but that's 10:15 Pacific time, so it's perfect. At 1:15, right after we're finished with our pre-Rising Share-a-thon, then people have lunch, we're gonna have giveaways, and then they could go and meet with your onboarding user group, afternoon on Monday. Excellent. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Denise, what do we have up next on the agenda?
Up next, we have AP Metrics with Susanna from New Jersey.
This is really what we're trying to accomplish is we went live with just financials in 2017, and we've been struggling with our process, trying to make improvements. And we're really looking for something that we can put on a dashboard that would measure daily productivity of our AP data entry specialists for expenses and invoices. So we're trying to come up with something that shows how many new invoice requests come into queue, how many get turned into supplier invoices, how many get approved, how many go for approvals and come back before settlement, and the time frame in between each. Like we want to see if somebody, say, sits on requests all day and doesn't process something until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, things like that. So if anyone has any idea how to come up with this, because currently we're just running the business process awaiting report several times during the day to see where things are and how long it takes before something is changed from an invoice request to an invoice. Our current process is very convoluted. We have supplier invoice request, then the AP turns it into an invoice, and then it goes through the business process for approvals. and then back again to AP for a final review and approval before settlement. So I will be at Rising and hoping to be at the Share-a-thon for Monday morning, and again, I'll be at Rising the whole week. So hoping to connect with somebody that has any ideas on how to put this together for us.
Okay, and we could use the chat right now. So if anyone has any input for Susanna that you would like to do, here's your opportunity.
What do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we have Robin with Change Job.
Hi, this is Robin. So I have a question. We have a very complicated change job BP, and we actually had a consultant look at it, and we were advised that it was too complicated. It's 37 steps. It has 53 condition rules in it. We use it through recruitment, and we also use it as a manager self-service tool, just for a few things. And so I was wondering, does this new consolidated template, would it help with something like that? And so a few of the ideas that I had to maybe use it were to use it by the different reason codes that we have for changes, and we also have unions. We have 4 different unions, so we have many different rules built in based on whatever union you're in. And I was confused about, if you use the template, do you have to remove the steps in the BP? Any help would be appreciated on that.
Thank you so much for sharing. If you have information that you want to share, you can do it in the chat, and then we will also be having our post show.
Yeah, so people could discuss this in the chat. Thank you, Logan.
Okay, thank you, David. What do we have up next on the agenda?
All right, up next, we have Tina from Maryland with Workday 33 talking points.
Okay, Tina, while you're coming off of mute, what I'm going to show here is we have officially started the Workday 33 Share-a-thon. And there's several topics now, all focused on Workday 33.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. Basically, I'm just going to share our journey with Workday releases. We've actually been live for 2 years, since July 2017. Our previous release strategy, due to manpower and bandwidth, was basically just to hope and pray that nothing breaks, and we performed little to no testing. We definitely know that this is not the best strategy, and it did come back to haunt us. We did have our check layout glitch when we had a release, so we couldn't pay our vendors until it got corrected, and I think that was about 4 or 5 days of stressful issues that we were trying to overcome. So this release, we are looking to focus on the issues and make sure that we are at least better prepared. We do realize that we're behind now because, that we have little time left to test. But the main thing was we didn't really know actually where to start. So we, quickly became overwhelmed. We did our main search for Workday 33 release in community. And as you can imagine, there was over 1,700 results that came from there. But we did end up coming with some good results on that because we found the preparation center for the Workday release, which seems to be helpful. And then I also found the Workday Share-a-thon for 33. So that's why I'm here. So we're hoping to, get this to be a good resource for us. And we're looking forward to the access and the Smartsheets and developing and working with the What's New report. We still have very many questions, but we're doing the dive in, and at least that's better than where we've been in the past.
Okay, now I personally want to thank you for scrolling down through those 1774 results or whatever it was. I'm amazed that the Workday 33 Share-a-thon actually showed up here so high, but I too am happy that you found us. And so here's
I'm grateful.
Here's this other page that you mentioned that has been helpful for you. It's a ton of information. Thank you, Tina. This is nice lead in now to what we've got coming up here next.
Thanks so much for sharing, Tina. What do we have up next on the agenda?
Up next, we have our friend Melissa from Texas with managing updates and releases.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're on.
All right, perfect. Tina, thank you for sharing. That's great. I think a lot of organizations are at different stages in how they treat the releases and the updates. And so I'm going to share how our organization approaches the release process. And we do have a fairly structured process, which begins with preparation and talking about the tools that we used. And you've shared some screenshots of some of those already. And then we move into that planning and prioritizing phase, configuration, confirming and testing, and then communicating the changes out. The Workday community does have a 33 preparation center. They do come up with the preparation center for each new release, and it does have a lot of information in the preparation center. One of those things that you will find is instructions on how to run the What's New report. It also has some valuable information included in the What's New posts. The What's New posts are great because they provide feature-specific information on how to configure the new features. It will list if there's additional considerations that you need to consider as you take on a new feature. And it even has an area for you to ask questions about that specific feature. And you'll also find in the community, the Preparation Center, the Feature Release Guidebook, which also provides some testing feature release guidelines. And it's important as we look at the community, always collaborate. I know I don't have to plug that here very much, because that's what we're here for. So as we look at the What's New report, this is the report that comes out of your tenant, and it describes all of the features in the upcoming release when it's planned to hit production and preview. And what's neat about this report is that you can create adoption items directly from the related action on that report, which is really great if you're using the adoption planning worklet. And just like any other report in Workday, you can export that report out and use it as a working document, whether that's in Excel, whether that's in worksheets. I know that some people use that within Workday, Smartsheets, or another tool. I like to use that and add additional columns. Our team does use the adoption planning worklet. It allows our team to keep track of projects, items, and features, and helps our team review the delivery dates and the resources that we're going to need at different times of the year, so we can see what impact we're going to have as we move forward. And you can easily see your priority. The backlog are items that are potential future projects, and roadmap items are those items that you put in your adoption planning that you plan to do. You have a due date. And as you move forward with your planning and your prioritizing, some things that you will want to look at and take into consideration is the urgency of the item. Look at your deprecating features first, if it's deprecating with this release, or those things that are automatically available that you have, you don't have any choice in taking on those features if that area is enabled. Then we look at enhancements to our existing functionality, and then items that are deprecating in the future, along with new functionality. We try to consider how easy our team is going to adopt changes, who will be impacted by the changes, what kind of effort is involved in the setup, and that includes not only implementation and testing, but it also includes the ongoing maintenance to maintain that feature. We use the backlog priorities report. When we create an adoption item, we will assign different values to priority, urgency, and things like that. And we've used calculated fields to assign a numeric value, so we can determine our evaluation score. And that kind of helps us prioritize some of our backlog items, so we can determine what needs to move to our roadmap the next time. So we found that to be a really useful tool, not only in the release, but in between releases as we get project requests.
So Melissa, will you be able to share those calc fields that you've created in the Workday 33 Share-a-thon? How about we grab those and share them, or have you posted them on community?
I have not posted those on community, but I have gotten permission to share.
Awesome.
And then as you move into configuration and you've made your decisions on what you're going to take into that release, you're going to start your configuration and testing in preview. Make sure to track your configuration details. That's something that initially I took for granted when I was configuring in my first release. And I very quickly realized that if you don't keep track of it, you will lose all of the minute little details. So this can act as a checklist. So when you get ready to move that configuration into your production tenant, then you're not going to miss an important piece of security or notifications, a calculated field or anything like that. And I do like to use the What's New report to track that information. The next thing that, after you configure, you're going to move forward with testing. So our team has an internal document that we use as a testing roadmap. And that includes basic instructions for our team. So new team members will see the same instructions every release cycle. It provides a copy of the feature release checklist, which you can actually find in community. And then we also have test scenarios by functional area for the functional areas that we use. It is recommended that you revisit your test plan after each release. So if you have any new functionality that you've configured or that you've adopted since the last release, you can add that into your testing the next time. You do want to make sure that you focus on your existing integrations, your critical business processes, and your critical custom reports so that you can verify that the expected behavior that you have in production today will continue once the new release goes into effect. So it is really good to make sure that you are testing, we call it regression testing, that you're testing all the new features or all of your existing features. And then finally, you're going to communicate your changes. And your strategy on communication may change from one release to the next. Who are you going to announce the new features to? What are you going to share with them? Because you may not need to share everything with them. And then how are you going to share? And so that can be done in team meetings with your fellow analysts, end user meetings, email updates, or we even use the announcement feature within Workday to share some information with them.
Wow, that's fantastic, Melissa. Thank you so much for sharing.
I'm just going to go back to that slide, Melissa. So what I saw you do in Dallas in your presentation is you added some columns onto the report to make sure that you tracked that you had sent communications out, right?
Yes, that we don't lose sight of what communications need to happen.
Yes. Okay. So before bringing in the next guest, what happened here? There's kind of a story here, which is I was in Dallas. I saw Melissa give this presentation, and there was quite an active discussion about editing an Excel file, which is a dump of the Workday What's New report, and then people adding columns or doing edits to it. And so it occurred to me, if we combine this approach that many people were taking, get Excel and then start manipulating an Excel file. But what if we were able to share that Excel file? So that does bring us up to this next topic.
Thanks, David. What do we have next on our agenda?
Up next, we have Workday 33 dashboards with Sherry from Georgia.
Hi, all. Can you hear me?
You're on, Sherry.
Okay. I put together a list of the top 10 uses from Smartsheet. If you haven't heard of Smartsheet, you will be hearing about it more. Workday is rolling it out as a tool to use. But the best parts of Smartsheet are highlighted here. You can take it anywhere. You can get it on the web, sitting in a coffee shop, in your car. You can get it on your phone. There's an app. And you can track and enter comments and documents so that everything's in one place. so that you don't have to go to several different places to look up helpful links or the on report. It's all right here in one place. It's very familiar. You'll see up to the top left, it looks like Excel. You'll see on the top of the page, you have your web address. On the right-hand side, you'll see a share button, so you can share with others in your organization.
And this looks great, Sherry. Like what you've lined up here for the Workday 33 Share-a-thon is in the upper left, that's the What's New report. There's a video in here. The What's New report shows up on the bottom and it can be annotated. So this is essentially Melissa's approach, shows up on the bottom with columns added to the far right, not now just only for Melissa, but for anyone here who's joining in on the fun of Workday 33 using this approach. All right, so what else can you show us here, Sherry?
Lots of fun tricks. You'll see again, it looks like Excel. You'll have rows and columns. You'll see the little comment icon, and that's where you can enter comments. They're time-stamped and tracked. You can also run a report. You can attach files. You'll see the little paper clip. So you're able to see either on the row or in a sheet altogether, your files and your comments. You can then create reports from those columns and rows and highlight changes.
All right, so what are we looking at here on the left, Sherry?
You are looking actually at a screenshot from my phone.
Wow.
You're able to take it with you.
Okay, so then one of the sections here of the Workday 33 Share-a-thon is helpful community links. I like to highlight the fact that some of them have videos, and then it will tell you here how many minutes long the video is, as well as how many questions and comments are on that page.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. What do we have up next?
Up next, we have our final guest, Jerry from Washington, with the What's New report.
I just want to make sure everyone knows. So it's the upper left here, right? So in the upper left there, Jerry, right. So this is great. This is something else that came up in Dallas was people were saying, okay, I like this idea. We run What's New, we export it to Excel, then we could add columns, but that What's New report changes. So, does anyone run it every day? Anyway, Jerry, tell us what you've got here.
Yeah, exactly. So What's New report is really, really helpful. A lot of people are using it, but one of the hardships was just sometimes the What's New items change and maybe people aren't noticing that sometimes. And so what we did was we started looking at it, and we at first thought, well, maybe we can just do a compare between Excel files or something like that. But as we looked at the What's New report, we realized it's just a custom report. It's a custom report that's been delivered by Workday, so a standard report, but it's not an Espresso report. So we're able to just go ahead and copy that report and create our own version of it. So what we did was we copied it, and then we started looking at some of the CRFs that are available on that report or on that data source, and we saw that there's a couple fields that weren't being used. So one is corrected date and one is created moment. And so the first thing I did was just filtered on the What's New features, saw that we can just type in Workday 33 as the feature that pulled up all of the Workday 33 What's New items. And I just did a click on the first one, click on the last one, and selected all of those. So there was 286 Workday 33 What's New items. And I just did that so that I only see the Workday 33 and I don't have the clutter of future releases of past releases. And then following that, we're able to just use that corrected date and the entered moment to pick up any corrections. So anytime it changes, that corrected date's updated. So we're just pulling anything that happens after our prompt date, and then also anything that was created after our prompt date to pick up new items.
Thank you, Jerry. That's like that filter is quite valuable. So everyone will see that when you join the Workday 33 Share-a-thon.
Right now, let's have a word from this month's co-sponsor.
This month's show is co-sponsored by Humanity. Humanity is a Workday-approved employee scheduling software. Visit Humanity at Workday Rising in Orlando. We will see you there.
Thank you, Logan. Now it's time for our final quiz Kahoot. Let's see who will make this week's podium. You may have to refresh your browser to join this. Your new Kahoot PIN number is 846724. So it's 846724. And these all have right or wrong answers.
Well, this looks to be one of our largest Kahoot challenges, up to almost 50.
All right, I think we're ready to start. Okay, there are 3 questions.
All right, what was the name of Workday 2? Was it Orlando, Oslo, Milan, or Prague? Okay, it looks like about half people got that right. That actually required some thinking. We didn't actually tell you, but we told you the information you needed to know. Charlene, wow, congrats, you're 10 points ahead of Deborah, 3 points ahead of Carol. Quite close match here. Let's see what happens here on the next question. What type of Workday report cannot be copied? A Workday standard report, an Espresso report, a matrix report, or a what's new with you report? Okay, that one went quickly. You did hear Jerry mention that Espresso reports are ones that can't be copied. Okay, Michael E is 3 points ahead of Carol, who's tied with LPB. Charlene, you're only 5 points away from the top, and Deborah, very close. Got one question left. What year is MMII 2002, 2007, 2011, or more Mission Impossible 11? All right, about half got that right. We took the V out of MMVII. For the purpose of Mission Impossible is why we did that. All right, so let's see. Michael E, you several points ahead. You jumped in front of Chris M and then Deborah. Congrats to all 3 of you for making the podium. Thank you all for staying a few minutes long. We are ready to wrap up.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Logan. And special thank you to our guests for speaking today on the show. As always, we are posting this recording to our YouTube channel. You can find it there. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe and click the notifications icon on YouTube to get notified when the new shows are posted. We are now going to move over to our open mic session. First, I'll close the show out and we'll come back to open mic shortly. All that's left to say is have a great work day.